What's going on, YouTube? So we are doing a $400 account challenge, and the goal here is to grow it to $2,000. And so what I'm going to be doing is walking you through my strategy, providing key nuggets of information to help you with your trading journey, and really just document my progress over the next few months to show you that you can grow a small account into a large one. Let's get started. What's going on? So let's break down this trade that netted me about $50 in less than 30 minutes. So open on the screen here is what I have is a trading view. A lot of traders use it to visualize and map out their trades for any given day. It is a preference thing. I did drop the link to trading view in the description of this video. But some traders do like to trade directly on the terminal being usually MetaTrader 4 or 5, which is just how you execute trades through your broker. So here I have open is trading view, like I said. But before I do a top-down analysis, and I'll get into that in a moment, I would like to kind of highlight one major thing that you should do before you even open a chart for the day. And that is check any news. So specifically, I use forexfactory.com. Basically, it is basically just keeps track of all financial events that are happening. And so really what we're trying to focus on here is November 20th, because again, this is when the trade was executed. And what I'm looking for is any type of like high impact news that is denoted by like a red folder here, specifically on the USD, because that is going to influence my trading, specifically because I trade the nasdaq. So overall, I just see some minor news, the CB leading index, but overall I know just from experience this doesn't really have much of an influence on price action trading and my strategy. So overall, we have the green light, nothing to really look out for. I will say, if you did see high impact news, you usually would want to at least wait until after that news is dropped to try and trade and find a position, just because during high impact news events there are a lot of slippage, which basically just means that your trades don't necessarily get executed at the price that you have laid out. So something to really look out for. There's also large swings in the market which can take out your stop loss, but we'll get into that as we go into our top-down analysis. So moving back into TradingView here, like I said, the major thing that major pair or indice that I trade, I should say, is the NASDAQ. If you're new to trading and just starting out, I highly recommend just only focusing on one pair or indice, because you really just want to deploy a strategy that's successful at least on just one pair, because really that's all you need to be profitable. You don't necessarily need to trade multiple pairs, but again, it depends on your trading style. My trading style is very much like a scalper or maybe like a hybrid kind of day trader, but overall I am really getting in and out of the market within 2 hours or so. So getting more into the top-down analysis that I mentioned, and what a top-down analysis essentially is analyzing the key price action levels, starting at the higher time frames, which I have open as the weekly here, but you can see you can go all the way up to a month, 3 months, and then all the way down to the 1 minute. So with that being said, let's just jump into it here. I'll start outlining the key levels that we need to look out for. So highlighting in red here, something that I'm seeing right away are these two levels. So one being here where you see price is just kind of bouncing off this zone and respecting it on the weekly time frame, indicating it is a very sought after level by most traders, as you can kind of see how the price here just kind of moves and bounces off this zone that I have highlighted. The other one that I'm going to be looking at is this one up here, because we see, if you kind of zoom in here, you see a lot of like rejection of this zone, right? So this is another key weekly level that we want to look out for. So moving down into the daily time frame, as you can kind of see here, the daily is respecting this weekly level, which makes sense as we mapped it out. But also just kind of wanted to throw in just this little line here at like right around 15,780-ish, because this is also a key area that you can see the previous week price broke through and is now respecting. And so when we say like respecting, What we're meaning is that price isn't moving below or breaking below that point and is pretty much holding above that level. So overall, just based on the weekly and daily time frame, I am kind of shifting towards more of a buy than a sell. We can also see there's a steep uptrend here. And again, the trend is always your friend. So you really want to focus on trying to trade with the trend because you'll have a higher probability of hitting your target and also getting a successful trade. So with that being said, I'll go down more into the 4 hour and the 1 hour and the 30 minute. So as you can kind of see here, the 4 hour has this like key level here. I would kind of probably say it's more of like a minor 4 hour, but probably trending a little bit more towards major 2, kind of a mix because it is at a major daily and weekly level. And you can see prices getting respected here. So what I'm going to be doing here is just drawing another kind of area of what we call resistance, which is where price is basically respecting on the top. If it was below here, this is support. So price is respecting support on this white line and resistance being basically the ceiling here. So I'm going to just change this to something that's easier to identify. So this is kind of where I'm going to be looking to take a trade, specifically because I'm looking for like a price that's breaking above with the trend for a buy. So let's just kind of let price pay out a little bit more. So as we see here right on Monday, which is when I executed this trade for around $50 profit, we see that on the 4 hour, it broke above this level and it actually formed what we call an engulfing bar. So the strategy I deploy is called an engulfing strategy. And what an engulfing bar really is when price opens and then closes, basically engulfing the previous bar or even previous bars, to kind of show who's really in control of the market. With indices, they're really tied to the New York Stock Exchange open. I mean, there is price fluctuation and sometimes you can find valid entries pre-market. Just for reference and my own preference too, I tend to wait for the New York Stock Exchange to open, just because I feel that price is actually moving more true to where it should be going during a given time, which is during when a lot of volume is in the market, which is in the New York Stock Exchange, which is what the NASDAQ is really traded during that time period. So with that being said, we see this engulfing bar break above this. What I'm going to be kind of looking for once it gets closer to the open is just a retest of this zone. And so a retest basically is when price comes down, respects this broken area of resistance, and then moves in the continuation of the direction, which I am assuming here is going to be a buy, and the bias that I had for this trade. So moving down into the lower time frames, we see here at like 4 or 5 a.m. it's still going pretty bullish. We'll just fast forward this a little bit. So at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. when this bar closed, right, we had a nice respect of this zone. On the higher time frame, I'm looking again for a retest of this zone. So what I did actually is I set a buy limit right around when the market opened, right around here, and I put my stop loss here like pretty low, almost at the bottom of this 4 hour candle here, because if price is retesting and starting to move in the bullish direction, then I want to give price an opportunity to breathe, just because sometimes you will get a deeper retest, then move in the same direction of your trade. And my target really here was for the top of this 4 hour bar roughly, because I did see prices respecting this top of this key zone. So not a super large win here, roughly a little less than a 2-to-1. But overall, because the engulfing bar was deployed on a 4 hour, I was a bit conservative with my stop loss there, just to ensure I wasn't going to get stopped out. But again, it really depends on your strategy. I deploy the engulfing bar strategy on the 4 hour, the 1 hour, and the 30 minute. But when it's a 4 hour, I generally see a lower risk to reward. So overall, not really expecting a huge move. So with that being said, as you can kind of see here, once it opened, so once this closed at 9:30, you can see that it did test this zone and then go in the opposite direction, not in the opposite direction, but in the direction of of my trade, which was a buy. So my buy limit was executed. And just for awareness, what a buy limit essentially is it's a price where you expect price to drop down to, activate it, right? And then the stop loss is actually below that. So it's a really great strategy to use a buy limit, or say a buy stop, sell limit, or sell stop. If you're expecting price to kind of retest a key level, and again, this is all based on my engulfing strategy and something that I'm used to seeing. But not everyone necessarily likes to use these. Some people just prefer market execution, which just basically means you hit buy or you hit sell, and then you set your stop loss manually too. So overall, when we go down into the lower time frames here, we're on the 30-minute, and I already had a target set. And something that's key when executing trades in the market, right, is you should always have the price you plan to get in at and the price you plan to exit at. The biggest thing that I think people forget is to have an exit strategy, right? So you don't just want to hit buy and not set like a take profit, because again, the markets can easily swing in the opposite direction and completely take out your position. So the other piece of trading too, especially when you execute a trade, is called managing your trade, right? So as you start to see the trade go in your direction, it's in your best interest to move your stop loss probably a little bit closer to your entry, if not to break even, right? So as price started to break above this 873 zone, I actually did move my stop loss to break even, because at that point, then it's just really a risk-free trade. But overall, as you can kind of see, and we can play this trade out, that it actually did go above and beyond that. I do think there was potentially another opportunity here to enter a trade, as this was a huge engulfing bar that then came down and retested the zone and then moved up, probably about another 100 pips. But overall, that was my trade breakdown that netted me about $50 on my 400 account challenge. And I really appreciate if you do have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them in the chat. Additionally, I do use a software for journaling all of my trades. It actually integrates directly with your broker. So my broker's AirFX, which I did also drop in the description link below. But essentially, it's an automated journal, right? So it links to your brokerage. So anytime you do execute a trade, it'll map that into your journal, and then you can go back and you can add notes. You can add it to a playbook, right? So TradeZella is my journal. It's a really great journal, and I'll also drop the link in my description below. Feel free to check that out. But overall, I did drop some very useful links below to kind of help you on your trading journey to becoming a profitable trader. So thank you so much for watching. And again, if you do have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them in the comment section below.